Hello, all. Week 2 of Dancing with the Stars is just behind us. I'm Daniel Montgomery. I'm here with Jeffrey Kare to talk about the second episode of the season, which was interesting to say the least. I thought some of the judging was a little off. I thought some of the performances were really, really good. A couple of them not as good as the judges maybe said they were. What did you think overall?
Well, I thought, several of them seem to have improved from last week. I mean, I'd say, the front runners at this point still seem to be Simone, Normani, and Heather. And I thought Nancy Kerrigan seemed to have made a strong improvement from last week. But, yeah, I think those who did not, improved somewhat, but not greatly, probably might have been Bonner, David, and Mr. T.
Yeah, and then there's Rashad Jennings, who actually, if you combine week 1 and week 2, he's the highest scoring celebrity so far.
Oh.
He won week 2 of the competition. He tied Normani Kordei with the top score in week 2, and in week 1 he was just 1 point behind Simone Biles. So if we're going by points, he's the one to beat. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I think he's making a strong case for a potential appearance in the finals. But I do agree that it feels to me, in terms of the dancing prowess, just sheer raw talent and ability to work this choreography, it's really all about Normani, Heather Morris, and Simone Biles for me. But Simone Biles didn't get the hugest score. She tied for 4th place actually on the leaderboard with Bonner Bolton, which I'll get to that. What did you think about Simone Biles' performance and the score she ended up getting?
Well, for Simone, I got my notes here. Let me see. She killed it again last night. And, well, yeah, I guess she did seem low on the score. And I know you slightly preferred Heather's dance, and you thought she was on the score too. And then I wonder, I wonder if the judges need a little more time to think about their scores. But then again, Len Goodman was very much a Grinch last night.
Yeah, Len Goodman was a bit difficult to please throughout the evening. He was, and it was interesting. There were some places where I thought he was kind of overly grumpy, and then others where I thought he's got a point. I thought he was right about Bonner Bolton. He gave Bonner Bolton a 6, and the rest of the judges gave Bonner Bolton higher. Actually, Bruno and Len gave Bonner Bolton 1 point lower score for the night than Simone Biles, and Kare and Julianne Hough gave Bonner Bolton 1 point higher a score than Simone Biles. And I honestly, God bless Bonner Bolton, I think that's kind of insane. What about you?
I guess so, because Bonner, I guess he might have gotten a little better from last week, but of course, his popularity could keep him on for a few more weeks, but yeah, he probably did deserve, I guess, or he received it. Well, granted, the judges were swooning over him.
Yeah, the judges were kind of. I feel like the female judges are getting a little bit ahead of themselves over. He's got the hunk factor. He's got the swoon factor that's happening, and I think that's probably going to happen with the audience too voting. That'll keep him around for a while. He had the most watched performance, when you consider when ABC uploads these performances to YouTube last week, which is kind of which surprised me just because Normani Kordei, from Fifth Harmony, she has such a huge fan base that I figured she'd be the most watched video, or Simone Biles, who's one of the most anticipated contestants every week this season. But Bonner Bolton, he seems to have his fair share of fans. Another performance where the scoring, I think, might have been a bit screwy was Heather Morris, and that was one where she got 8 from Kare and Alba, Bruno Tonioli, and Julianne Hough, but a 6 from Len Goodman, who did not like that she added a little hip hop to her jive. I honestly think it was at least as good as what Rashad Jennings did. I might personally put her just a touch below Normani Kordei for the night. What did you think about Heather Morris and the scores she got?
Well, I thought Heather did great once again. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I think she's definitely a front runner to watch for the finals.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see. I feel like the top 4 is pretty set for me at this point. I think it's going to be Normani. I think it's going to be Heather, Simone Biles, and Rashad Jennings. And it's all about, for me, whether Rashad Jennings makes that final 3, the top 3, or if it's going to be an all-female top 3. I personally think that those 3 women are the class of the field so far. And even though Rashad Jennings has more points than anyone else so far, I feel like he's still got a little bit to prove. In terms of keeping up with them, I feel like they are judging those 3 women because they're so good, kind of on a much more challenging scale. Like, yeah, I thought Normani, that dance was a 9 or a 10 if that had happened 3 or 4 weeks from now. So it really seems like Rashad Jennings is benefiting from that a little bit right now. But he's also going to have to work hard to keep up with them. What did you think about poor Chris Kattan, who was eliminated at the end of the night? And we learned a lot more about his injury, and we saw his X-rays and how extensive the reconstruction to his spine was. I feel like if he seemed to say this at the end of the night, if people had known this from week 1, things might have gone differently in terms of the scoring, in terms of people voting at home. A lot of people with physical challenges or unique situations have gotten a lot of the benefit of the doubt on the show in the past and have gotten credit for persevering. What did you think about his elimination, and are you sad to see him go?
Well, not really. I wasn't too impressed by his performance from last night. So, I applaud the judges for giving him the encouragement. But yeah, I think back really showed in his performance. He pretty much sealed the deal for his elimination.
Yeah, I agree that performance was just performance-wise. It really wasn't up to snuff. Obviously his back injury, his neck injury had a big part to do with that because there was a lot of stiffness to it. He did get a couple of 6s from the judges, which I thought were generous. But I think maybe the judges knew he was going home and wanted to send him out on an encouraging note. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I guess there's, at least one thing to be proud of despite being eliminated last night.
Yeah. So going into next week is Vegas night on the show. After these first 2 weeks of competition, what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to be eliminated now that Chris Kattan is out? Is it going to be Mr. T? Is it going to be Charo? Could there be kind of a surprise? We might see maybe a Nick Viall go home, or even maybe someone higher up on the judges leaderboard.
Maybe Charo, maybe. I guess it would have to depend on how strong each of their fan bases end up being within the viewer votes. I imagine maybe Mr. T, Bonner, or David could make it past next week, or not. Maybe Charo. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be largely a question of fan bases and how much the fans appreciate Charo versus are maybe annoyed by Charo, because her energy on the dance floor and her dances have been pretty decent, like not necessarily great, but certainly competent in a way that I appreciate, and I think she deserves to stick around a couple of weeks. But then when she receives scores and judging, it feels like she needs a nap. It's like just like relax, calm down a bit. No one can rein her in. They have a show to do, and it's just kind of the explosive Charo hour. What did you think about that?
Well, yeah. With Charo, I mean, I thought. Well, I mean, I will say, she did seem like a standout from last night. I mean, I was a little disappointed in her total scores, though. He, of course, as you told me, you thought he seemed about right. Well, improvement from last week. You thought her timing was off in places, and she seemed exhausted after her dance.
Well, who do you think it'll get the high score next week? Just given how things have gone back and forth. Simone was first, and then she was in fourth, and Rashad and Normani tied, and Heather Morris, I think, is due. I'm currently, for the moment, predicting Heather Morris will get the high score. Of course, it's a guessing game. We don't know yet what the dancing styles will be, and of course, anything could happen when they actually get on the live show. So what are you thinking about that so far?
Well, I guess it'll have to depend on if Len is in a good mood next week instead of just underscoring everyone.
And, who do you think is gonna win the Mirrorball Trophy at this point? Have you changed your prediction, or where is it at the moment after last night?
Well, I haven't changed my predictions. Well, let me take a look at my predictions. I believe it will be between probably Heather, Simone, and Normani, possibly Rashad. But yeah, those seem to be the strongest at this point.
Well, I look forward to talking about next week's episode too. That should be interesting, and we'll see if Len's blood sugar is better, and and he will. Although I did agree with him on a couple of those, I'm not going to dump too much on Len Goodman. I thought some of the other judges were a little generous on a couple of those dancers where Len had it right on. But thank you, Jeffrey Kare, for joining me today to talk about Dancing with the Stars, and thank you everyone for watching. We will see you back here next week.
All right.